Hello everybody, this is Ashoo and welcome to this free webinar on emotional intuition, sensing the energy of emotions to enhance intuition and well-being. I'm very excited to share this information with you. So we're going to talk about how emotions are processed in our brain, and we are emotions, we are energy, we are thoughts, and we are always making our decisions through our emotions. So if our emotions are positive, if our emotions are healthy, if our emotions are not coming from the place within us which is fear-based, we are able to make pretty clear decisions. And that is what our life journey is all about. Learning to tap into our inner selves so that we can make balanced, clear decisions that contribute to increase in our happiness levels. So let's get started. So let's talk about the benefits of emotional intuition. I believe that emotional intuition, it greatly helps to expand the levels of our awareness, and when our awareness is expanded, we know that we are making better choices, we know that we are making choices we will never regret. Then we have clarity in our minds, we are more confident whether it comes to choosing an outfit in the market, or what dish to cook tonight, or what friends to choose, or the events to choose for our entertainment. It could be any stuff related to our day-to-day practical life, or it could be as deep as selecting your partner, relationships. Anything that comes from within us is related to our emotions can contribute to enhancing our lives. And when we enhance our emotional intuition, we are enhancing our awareness, we are enhancing our ability to make better decisions and better choices in life, we are enhancing our self-esteem, and we are also enhancing our confidence levels. So when all this is happening, we are making a better self-connection. We are deeply connected with our own sense of self, because I often find that we come from time to time a point in our life where we regret certain decisions, and that's a part of our growth process. There is no doubt about that. But there is another truth also, that nature has equipped us with the ability to make the right choices for us by paying conscious attention to those mechanisms within our mind. So today we're talking about that mechanism, our finer qualities, our higher mind qualities that we have the capability to access. So emotional intuition helps to foster better, deeper self-connection. And when we are connecting with our sense of self, we are creating an environment within our self where we are creating the ability to feel good most of the times. Because when we don't feel good, when we are not making right choices, when we are not operating from the motivations or intentions which are coming from our deeper sense of self, where we are more aware of our values, where we are aware of what we truly want, and we passionately follow those things, when we are making choices to please others, when we are making choices from the parts of us that are fearful, and we are not aware of those fearful parts, we are always making wrong choices. And we are not in touch with our emotional intuition in those times. We are in touch with the negative shadow or blocked parts of ourselves, and we are unconsciously operating through them without our knowledge. So emotional intuition is a very powerful stuff. If you choose to make a conscious effort to connect with your emotional intuition, there is nothing like that. And when you have a deeper sense of self-connection, your creativity levels are also heightened. You're able to express yourself without fear, because you know it's coming from a deeper place within you, and you are truly confident because you're not competing for attention, and you are not comparing yourself with others, because this is your genuine, authentic, creative expression that is arising out of your unique sense of self. So you're able to create more joy around you. This is very true. Most of the times we are operating, our brain is constantly sifting and filtering information, and most of the time this information is coming from our survival response, where we are operating from our fight or flight response. So learning to enhance your emotional intuition basically is learning to get past that automatic response that our brain has been hardwired into responding, and getting tuned to our higher mind, our higher gifts. I love to break this word emotion into E plus motion, energy in motion. It's very true. Each thought we are creating is regulating an emotion correlated to that thought. For example, if you love to go for biking, swimming, love to meet your friends, have party, you have all the positive emotions around these people and these thoughts. Whereas on the other hand, if you dislike something, maybe you don't like to drink, you don't like to do clubbing, you don't like people who are loudmouthed, then your emotions around such people are negative. You don't feel good. So whatever thoughts we are creating in our minds are contributing to the creation of emotions as well. So every thought has a correlate in its emotion. So every thought is a intangible energy pattern. So emotion is also an intangible energy pattern that is implicit and that we can feel within our bodies, but we are not able to see them as such. We are able to feel our anger as a hot flushed face. We are able to feel the butterflies in our stomach when we are anxious or fearful. We are able to feel the cold sweaty hands when we are fearful. So all these thoughts and emotions are felt within our body system. That's why now the experts have started saying that body has a wisdom of its own, and this is very true, that body has a mind of its own. And when we learn to tune into that mind of our body, we can get rid of a lot of health problems or other factors that are affecting our health as well. So what can we do if we have to connect with our higher mind, with our higher gifts, with our emotional intuition? I believe that change in perspective is all we need to channel into our emotional intuition. You can tap or create an intention to tap with your emotional intuition right away. The choice is yours. The energy shift happens the moment you make the choices consciously. Create a conscious intention on daily basis. It's a very powerful stuff. If you learn to create conscious choices on daily basis, your brain is also changing with that conscious choice making, and through repetitive performance, your brain is getting hardwired into those conscious choice making, and the time will come after a few days or month, depending upon how much energy you're giving, when it will go on autopilot, and a change in perspective will happen then. A shift happens then. It's very important. A change of perspective is the only thing, a responsible choice we can make to get past the wounds, hurts, disappointments. Let's take an example that if somebody is not kind towards you, so there are two ways you would react. Usually how we react, or you react, is in two ways. Either you withdraw into yourself, believing that you were not good enough and you were rejected. So you have an implicit sense, a felt sense, a feeling of not feeling good. Here I'm going to talk about the four parts of our being. We are made up of four major parts. That is our body, or physical being, mind, our intellectual being, our emotional being from where we create our emotions, and spirit, our spiritual being. Now, I would like to ask you, how much time do you spend on daily basis to give the balanced amount of time to all these parts of yourself? We begin to become conscious of the wisdom of our body. We begin to pay attention to what our body is trying to tell us. We begin to look at it from a different perspective. We are more conscious from a place within us that knows that it has a message for us. We need to slow down, and we need to take a pause, a breather, to be kinder to ourselves. Ask yourself, what do you do on a daily basis for your body to be more kind towards your body? Do you give it a good massage, exercise, stretching, or whatever? Now let's talk about our mind. Our mind is made up of our conscious mind, our subconscious mind, unconscious mind. How much attention do you pay to your mind chatter on a daily basis? Mind chatter. Mind is always chattering. That's the nature of the mind. And most of the time it's chattering negatively. That is also a truth. We have to make a conscious effort to program or reprogram our minds for positive chattering like a monkey. It's chattering all the time. So what do you do to reprogram your mind into a more positive mind chatter? Ask yourself that. Our emotional being. Our mind is chattering. What kind of emotions are chattering behind that, in those thoughts? Are there emotions of regret, doubt, unclarity, blame? Or are there the emotions of excitement, passion, aliveness, enthusiasm, good feelings? Ask yourself on a daily basis how your mind is chattering, what emotions are radiating in your inner being that sums up who you are and what you're choosing to become. Our spiritual being, I think that's the most neglected part of ourselves. Learning to connect with our spiritual self. What do you do to connect with your spiritual self on a daily basis? Do you do meditation or any other healing practice? What is your concept of higher energy? Do you believe in God? What do you do, or angels? Ask yourself, what do you do to connect with your spirituality? Or you go to a temple? Or you do some rituals? Or you don't believe in doing rituals? You just want to sit quietly and listen to the music to connect with your spirituality? What do you do? Ask yourself that, because connecting with your organic wholeness is important to enhance your emotional intuition. So in order to make connection with our emotional intuition with ease, we first need to become conscious of our negative programming. Because our negative programming is coming from our lack of awareness that we are having negative programming. We are just working on autopilot and we are not aware that this programming has some negative processes. It is coming through some sifting and filtering of data long time back, where our brain learned to get hardwired to those survival response patterns. So learning to become conscious of your negative programming is the first step towards opening up the channels of your emotional intuition. And we begin to accept ourselves more for the mistakes we are making, because we can see that we are on a path to perfection, but we are not perfect beings. So in order to make connection with our emotional intuition with ease, we first need to become conscious of our negative programming. Because our negative programming is coming from our lack of awareness that we are having negative programming. We are just working on autopilot and we are not aware that this programming has some negative processes. It is coming through some sifting and filtering of data long time back, where our brain learned to get hardwired to those survival response patterns. So learning to become conscious of your negative programming is the first step towards opening up the channels of your emotional intuition. So look at yourself and ask, where is the negative programming in your life that you would like to pick one thing in your life that you believe is working through a negative programming, and it's a skill that you will be learning as you go on daily basis. You can pick one thing that you are resisting, or that irritates you, or that you hate or dislike about. These are all the signals of blockages within your own system. How you were processing your emotions unconsciously, and now they're working on autopilot. The moment you see something that you disliked in the past, it triggers a reaction in your body in the form of feelings. So learn to take more charge of your negative feelings, and you will be clearing those blocks and creating more intuitional energy within your, connecting with your intuitional energy. Now let's look at the origin of this negative programming. Like, where are we getting this negative programming from? When we were born, nature endowed us with a very pure, clean, clear consciousness. Look at babies. How much happy they make everybody around them. Why? Because they are emanating a very pure consciousness. That purity begins to get blocked. That natural vigor that children display, the talkativeness, the natural energy that emanates without the fear of their surroundings begin to disappear. A fear-based cultural programming begins to overtake the consciousness here. When we had no mature logic, when we didn't have the tools to take care of ourselves, we were relying totally dependent upon our caretakers, and they did not have the right facilitating tools to create healthy parenting models. Now, a lot of negative programming is coming from our unmet childhood needs. Here, the needs are not only the physical needs like food, shelter, comfort. It is also, I'm talking about the psychological needs. The need for attention, the need for more love, the need for care, the need for positive feedback, the need for feeling special and unique, the need for connecting with your core self, the need for understanding that you were a unique child, the need for welcoming your shortcomings in a healthy manner, and understanding that mistakes are not bad. They are the path to growth. They are essential to grow. They are essential for the learning process. How many of you remember your parents always making you sit face to face and make you go through a process, a facilitating process, where you are made to understand your actions with clarity so that you could arrive at decision for yourself whether you did right or wrong? I think there is a lot of need for parents to educate themselves, and it happens when the parents are taking responsibility to be more conscious themselves. Only then they will be able to deepen their parenting skills as well. So, due to the unmet needs, children often feel a sense of rejection. For example, the mommy or daddy just scolded you for doing something wrong, and you silently listened to them and decided not to do that again because you wanted to be a good girl or you wanted to be a good boy. So that is how unconsciously the beliefs were getting created in the consciousness of a child when they were just told not to do something, they were told not to talk to certain people without letting them decide for themselves why it is not good to talk to these people, without giving them the reason, or without knowing that the child is satisfied with what they are hearing, or they are ready to make their change in their consciousness. That is where our blocks, our creativity is getting hindered, and we are going into a fear-based mindset where we are learning to comply to what we were being told silently, without questioning, because to question is to go against the authority. So the negative emotion and feelings, they get hardwired into our consciousness, and we operate from that negative programming even though we have grown up, we are adults, but our hardwired patterns are coming from our childhood. It is very essential when you are working to reprogram your mind. A lot of images from the childhood would come to your intuition that would give you messages. Where are you operating from? What were you told as a child that is contributing to this thought pattern in you? What you believed in that is contributing to this thought pattern in you? Why do you dislike certain things in your life? Why are you irritated? What are you angry at? Who are you angry at? Ask yourself these questions. Now, to enhance your emotional awareness means to enhance your emotional intuition as well. Now, what can be done to enhance our emotional awareness? You can learn to create conscious intentions on a daily basis. Subconsciously, we are creating intentions all the time. But these intentions, as we discussed earlier, are coming from the autopilot negative programming of a fight or flight response system. Our brain is constantly sifting and filtering data to protect ourselves. Even when we don't need that data, it is on autopilot and it is operating from the same hardwired patterns. We're always sifting for data where our defense mechanisms, our guard mechanisms are on, and we are trying to protect ourselves from people, from situations where we don't feel comfortable. So all this is happening at subconscious level. The moment we meet somebody, we develop a dislike. Ask yourself how many times you're in a group situation where you have instant dislike for certain people. It is all coming from your own mental chatter, from your recording, how your mind is sifting and filtering the information, and these are all the blocks that are hampering you from taking in more of life energy into you. We are giving away the power to others when we dislike others. We develop dislike for others. When we are more expanded, we are more self-aware, we have more stuff to do instead of focusing on disliking others for not very great reasons. This is all psychic pollution that is everywhere in our environment now in the world. There's so much hatred, so much dislike. So transplanting your subconscious negative intentions with more love-based intentions is a good tip to start tapping into your emotional intuition. And when you begin to pay conscious attention on daily basis, conscious attention to creating intentions consciously, your brain begins to change. Through repetitive conscious creation of intentions, your brain begins to fire the neurons that wire together. And you begin to shift your energy patterns into more positive, more healthy, more nourishing patterns for your well-being. But to do that, you need to make a commitment to yourself. If you listen to this webinar and after that you forget whatever you heard here, you're not reprogramming your brain. You need to listen to this again and again if you really want to make changes in our life. That is how our brain operates. It's good to listen to certain things, but unless we put them into practice, we integrate them into practice on daily basis, we are not truly doing anything at practical level. So when we create an intention to connect with our negative programming and make an effort to change it into more positive thoughts, affirmations, when we are doing this kind of powerful work of making positive changes within ourselves, we have to be very gentle and compassionate the moment we identify a block within us. So it's very essential that we are very gentle, we are very compassionate, we are very kind towards ourselves in the process. The moment we identify something, we have to take it in a very loving and gentle way. If I discover that I'm angry at somebody in my life, I strike a conversation with my angry part with very much gentleness and love. I invite that part, I send all my love to that part of anger, and I ask, what is it that's bothering it? So learning to develop a relationship with your blocks in a positive way is required to go through this process of enhancing your emotional intuition. Now, I'm going to give you a few tools that I have developed that could help you to unblock your creativity and tap into your emotional intuition. Label your emotional reactions. Learn to label your emotional reactions. Whenever you catch yourself reacting to somebody, or whenever you catch yourself with an emotion that you feel is a block, label that reaction. Anger, you're angry at somebody, or are you angry at yourself? Are you hating somebody, or are you hating yourself? Are you judgmental? Where were you judged in your life? Connect with your inner child. Connect with your inner child. Ask questions. Go into a place within yourself where you can recreate your childhood, where you can see the events in your childhood, where you were judged, where an opinion was passed on to you without giving you an equal status and respect. Try to figure out what core belief you formed based upon that judgment or that opinion or the rejection or the appreciation you received as a child.